The Cork Dorks with Adam Montiel and Jeremy West. Live from the California Mid-State Fair.
Love it. It's the final day of the California Mid-State Fair. It is that feeling when you're approaching your final days of school. Everyone has signed your yearbook. You should see I have like almost two sleeves of all of the vendors and hot dog on a stick people signing my arm. The sound guys have signed my arm.
I'm really glad you decided to let the vendors sign your chest this year.
Right. They had the people from the deep fried alligator sign my chest. It's one of those bittersweet days of the California Mid-State Fair. We do say happy birthday to Allie Carskaden of 15C.
Happy birthday, Allie!
Allie Carskaden turns 29 today, and we couldn't be more thankful. I mean, you talk about someone, because she was working for Gary Eberly and Niels Utzon when she was 4.
Yeah, I know.
And now she is just incredible. I mean,
we all saw Doogie. I mean, she is a prodigy in the wine business.
Yeah, and you know what is funny? We actually had a wine person here, a winemaker, a relatively new winemaker, who was like, oh, yeah, I got into wine. I took her Wine U at 15C, and it helped me get into the business. I mean, cool stories like that. And then you look at what she has obviously done in Templeton with 15C since it moved. But then you look at just the years of the Mission Square situation. I mean, Frosé was introduced 2-3 years ago.
Now you see everybody walking around with wine.
And just blew her,
Cougar juice.
Yeah, it's all good.
It's all out there,
It's so cool. So congratulations and a very loving happy birthday from the Cork Dorks and Suzanne and the Crush. And, of course, Luke Utzon to Allie Carskaden. Allie Rush Carskaden. What am I supposed to call her? I don't know. Just call her Allie, whatever.
Just call her 15C.
Call her 15. Yeah, call her 15C, that 15C babe. So, and she I don't know if she gets off like a 10-mile run and then just like working. She's like in her running clothes and she never stops moving.
She's a yoga meister.
She's doing the hot yoga.
Yeah. You guys still doing yoga stuff out there at Castoro?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, one Sunday a month we do a yoga brunch, and I think the next one's August 29th. It's like we've been doing it for almost 10 years.
And this is your sweetheart, right?
Yeah, my wife.
She's
Lauren,
a yogi.
She teaches the classes. And
are you do the yoga too?
Pre-kids, but now I'm usually home with the kids.
That's enough yoga. I felt like we were doing yoga when I was a kid because my dad, he used to do gymnastics when he was in high school in Hollywood and stuff. So he would teach me all these stretches and be lifting me. I'm like, that's kind of yogish. It's yogish.
I did a stretch where I take my arms and I bring them all the way up like this.
Yeah.
And stretch it out. You inhale and then you push out.
And then you grab your beer.
Back.
And you grab your beer, put it on your belly.
And I push down. But that's about as much yoga as I've ever done.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm willing to try. So the last Sunday of every month at Castoro.
No, it's not always last Sunday, but it's always on a Sunday.
It's always on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do love the idea of yoga brunch. I mean, Ali was talking about like hot yoga. It's 90-something degrees. I'm like, hell no.
That doesn't sound very good.
But like yoga and then some brunch afterwards.
Now
we're talking about.
It's awesome. So I mean, we do it out in the gardens of the tasting room. So it's on the lawn in the morning. The class is all levels. And she teaches a great class outdoors in the gardens. And after the class, they do mimosas and awesome brunch. It's different every time, but it could be, some farm fresh eggs and fruit and, some baked, muffins or something or quiches or so it's always good. And we have a lot of regulars and a lot of new faces that show up to it. So it's definitely one of the to-do things for Castoro.
Let's get into the next wine here a little bit. We got Castoro in the house. We're tasting the award-winning wines at this year's Central Coast Wine Competition. What do we got next?
We could do Chardonnay or we could do Rosé, whatever you guys are feeling.
Let's do Chardonnay. Then we'll bounce into the Rosé.
Chardonnay.
So another winner at the Central Coast Wine Competition?
I'm not sure about the Central Coast Wine Competition, but it was another 90-plus point wine this year.
And so where do you guys grow this at? Because Chardonnay, obviously, we know is something that does really well in cooler climates. Paso Robles have all these different microclimates, though. I mean, we even see some Pinot Noir planted at Paso.
Yeah, so we have Chardonnay growing in our Whale Rock Vineyard in Templeton, right by our tasting room. We also have some Chardonnay grown on the east side. And this Chardonnay is a blend, so it has fruit coming from both vineyards. This one is primarily stainless steel fermented with a little bit of French oak fermented Chardonnay blended in with that. It's probably like 80% stainless steel. So it's definitely our more crisp Chardonnay. We also have a reserve Chardonnay that's a little bit more of that buttery, style.
But this still has seen some oak, so you get a good little mouthfeel, and it's got good structure to it if you like that kind of thing.
You get a little hint of the oak with some nice acid, crisp, clean.
Well, I know an awkward moment we had yesterday with Gary Eberly. So we're talking to him, and he has been, he's raves about your winemaker, Tom Myers. Mm-hmm. He's known him forever. He regards him as the best winemaker in Paso Robles and has for a long time. But, he's got a new winemaker as of 2015, and who's doing a fantastic job. So he's like, I asked him, I go, in their prime, better winemaker, Tom Myers, Chris Eberly.
Yeah.
And he's like, he couldn't answer it.
Yeah.
He couldn't answer. It was really tough because
he never did.
Well, he wanted to say Tom Myers probably.
He gave
Chris
on
is
both
incredible,
and then just
but
sat
he
down.
just loves Tom Myers so much, which I think is such a really cool testament to Tom, his legacy here, and just what a fantastic winemaker he is.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, Tom is definitely one of the most underrated winemakers. I mean, he's
quiet and shy,
super humble guy, quiet, but he's really intelligent. He's very diligent in his winemaking, and he just has a lot of experience. He's been making wine here since 1976 or something like that.
He's been around as long as everybody has.
And he's really intelligent, and so he's the kind of guy who's always learning, right? So if he learns how to do something better, he's going to continue to do that, and he's going to grow upon that.
Yeah.
And so when you look at the decades that he's been doing it here and that mentality that he has, it's obvious. It's a no-brainer that he's going to be at the level that he's at now. We do a lot of the way our business started too was doing custom crush work for other clients and things. So Tom has been making not only our wine, but he's been making wine for hundreds of other people for years.
He does it so behind the scenes, and you'd think with that much experience, he could be like Tom Myers Cuvée, or he wrote his own thing. But he just seems so happy to be just doing his thing his own way.
Yeah, I mean, Tom's thing is I want to make wine and then I want to go climb.
Yeah.
On his free time or spend time with his grandkids. He's just he isn't looking for, the glam, the credit.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously
he's not looking
he
to do a bunch
the
of
credit,
dinners.
and we give him credit where credit's due.
Well,
and
sure.
Tom,
everyone does.
He's great with people one-on-one, but he's not the kind of guy that's going to get up there and be this charismatic
No, I get it, because I like to do my
did.
thing, and then I like to do the other stuff.
Yeah.
I like to fish. I like to do other things. And, like this guy, he is just 110% wine 24/7. I mean, you are all about it all the time. You're always going somewhere. You're always doing something. So I understand Tom Myers' side a little bit. It's sometimes nice to break away.
A perfect example of a Tom
Different
thing
personalities.
is we used to always have these big 4th of July parties at one of our vineyards back in the day. And Tom would show up with these homemade fireworks that he made at home that were definitely not legal, but they were
super safe.
But these things were legit.
Oh my God!
The kind you would see down in Pismo or something.
Just
you're the ones that shoot up in the air and explode, and there's big balls,
big mortars, all the colors and all this stuff. And he made them at home because he's really into chemistry and all this kind of stuff, and it was fascinating for him. And it was
just the kind the Unabomber would make back in the day in the cabins.
Sometimes he'd be like, "Oh, this one's gonna make a big boom," and he'd put it on a vineyard post.
I mean, how smart to do that? Yeah, right.
That's great. Was that when you were a kid? Mm-hmm. That must have been really fun.
Yeah, it was super fun.
Was he kind of
known it for so long?
Was he like an uncle? Did you I know all my dad's friends. He was like, "Oh, this is your Uncle Tommy."
I never called him Uncle Tom, but his kids babysat.
Yeah, because that would have been inappropriate.
But I mean, I've known Tom, actually I've known him my whole life. His wife used to work at the General Hospital where I was born, and she was there delivering me the day I was born. So I've known
We had a General Hospital here?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, old school. Where's that?
It was in San Louis. Yeah, it's closed now.
Yeah.
But
now there's 2 hospitals.
But yeah, so Tom's wife, Kathy, was a nurse.
Wow.
And she was in the room.
And the other cool thing about this is it was we did that Founding Fathers show, and we found out, that Gary and Toby and your dad and Tom, I mean, they all worked together in the beginning at one point in time.
Can you imagine, it's like an all-star crush pad.
Right.
Where Toby's bringing this over and Gary's doing this and Niels is lifting this and this. Everyone's working in this crush pad together back in the day. That's wild to even think of. That's so cool.
I would love to just be a fly on the wall back then.
Oh my gosh!
Well,
we heard some stories too of
and I'd also love to have the clothes they were all wearing, because there's whenever I see pictures, I'm like, damn, those short shorts are badass.
Yeah.
You like the short shorts? Huh?
That's so great.
Or that mustache is
right.
killing it.
Yeah.
They had it going on.
You'd be able to pull those off too. That's pretty funny.
Castoro is in the house.
We are.
No, oh, okay. I thought you were going to show us. We'll have more from Mission Square coming up. We're hanging out with 15C. Happy birthday, Allie. It's the Cork Dorks.